I want to talk about who I believe is the most suspicious character in Kingdom Hearts, possibly even the worst character. And no, I'm not talking about Terra. He actually has a few scenes that demonstrate his usefulness. I'm talking about a character who up until Kingdom Hearts 3 only ever sat in his chair and gave advice. Usually bad advice. In some cases, even telling Sora and company info that's downright false. And the slack that people seem to cut this character is perhaps one of the most interesting things of all. Maybe it's because his name spelled backwards is Disney, but I've noticed every time someone tries to bring up one of his mistakes or questionable acts, they're usually met with great skepticism. I think it's about time that ended. Master Yen Sid and his mysterious past must be met with an open mind, and viewed in the same light as Mickey, Sora, Aqua, or any other Kingdom Hearts character. He can make mistakes, and he does. Perhaps a little too often for my liking, for a character who is supposed to be immensely wise. In light of this, I thought I'd break down the top occasions in which Master Yen Sid has said or done something very suspicious, or just simply incompetent, depending on how you're looking at it. So here goes. As I'm sure you know already, one of the major plot points of Kingdom Hearts 3 was to assemble 7 Guardians of Light, in order to fight off Xehanort and his real Organization 13. To accomplish this, Sora, Donald, and Goofy set off to unlock the power of waking hidden within Sora. Riku and Mickey searched for Aqua in the Realm of Darkness, while Kairi and Lee trained to become Guardians of Light themselves. But while all this was happening, what did Master Yen Sid do? Not once did he put forth the possibility that as a former Keyblade Master himself, he could have easily qualified as a Guardian of Light. Now, I've heard the excuse before that maybe he's simply too old to fight. But hey, Master Xehanort wasn't exactly a spring chicken either in Kingdom Hearts 3, and that didn't stop him. It seems a little off that Yen Sid kept pressuring the younger Keyblade wielders to hurry up and assemble 7 others without even once offering up himself as a potential solution, or a backup solution. Instead, he sat in his chair like he does every title, which isn't really even an exaggeration at this point. I kind of challenge you to watch every Master Yen Sid scene, cause in every one, he's either sitting down or a few feet away from his chair, with the only exception being when he saves Sora and company with his magic in KH3. And even then, he doesn't use a Keyblade. I know he said he doffed the mantle of that of a Keyblade Master, but what could have happened that he wouldn't even pick up his Keyblade to save the entire Realm of Light? And that's another thing. Who gives up using a Keyblade? Even in-game, characters recognize not only its usefulness, but the fact that it's a really cool weapon. So Master Yen Sid not cracking his out at all in this desperate situation reeks of either negligence or something far worse. Oh, and how about that time he essentially left Aqua to rot in the Realm of Darkness? Now, I know most people blame Mickey for that, and hey, I'll admit, he did play a bit of a role, but it wasn't all his fault. Just listen to this scene again.
So I forbade Mickey from telling you, let alone going after her.
Why keep it secret?
That much is obvious. If not you, then certainly Sora would have staged a reckless attempt at rescue.
Yen Sid forbade Mickey from telling anyone about Aqua's situation. Sure, he says it was because Riku and Sora would have attempted a half-baked rescue attempt, but still, doesn't that seem odd? And while I get Mickey didn't have to listen, he has a certain amount of reverence and respect for the man who trained him to be a Keyblade Master. It's kinda natural he wouldn't want to go against him. But unfortunately, this is the case far too often with most of our beloved characters. No one really goes against what Yen Sid says. They all assume he has their best intentions at heart, and simply obey without question. In this case, it led to Aqua continuing to be trapped in the Realm of Darkness. Once again though, one has to wonder, why didn't Yen Sid try to help her? I get that he may not have wanted a bunch of kids attempting a rescue, but what was to stop him? Or using the time he had to find another means of saving her. When you think of all the times Master Yen Sid could have used a Keyblade, but actively chose not to, one kinda has to wonder, is there something else going on? And while we're discussing suspicious Yen Sid activities, how about Sora and Riku's entire Mark of Mastery exam? In what universe did he think it was a good idea to send two kids on a time-traveling mission? Especially one that culminated in the grand return of Xehanort. It would have been much easier to conduct a simpler version of the test like the one he gave to Mickey in Birth by Sleep, or the sort of bubbly type Mark of Mastery exam Terra and Aqua had to undergo under Ericus. But nope. Instead, time-traveling test it was, and Sora was ultimately stripped of all his power. Now, personally, I had always been very wary of Yen Sid, but the entire premise of this exam in Dream Drop just solidified my suspicions. And his excuse after Sora and Riku are finally safe and sound leaves a lot to be desired. I'm sorry, he failed to perceive the danger? What did he think was going to happen? Just a casual mission to the past where everything would go fine? Yen Sid should be much smarter than this. Unless, of course, he just didn't want to be. So, what was this? Simple negligence? Or something more sinister? We also have his explanation of nobodies, because it's pretty suspect at best. In Kingdom Hearts 2, when Sora arrives at the mysterious tower and first meets up with the infamous master, he is greeted by a lengthy explanation of heartless nobodies and how the two were created. At first, everything seems in line with what we know today. When someone with a strong heart and will becomes a heartless, the empty body they leave behind develops a will of its own, becoming a nobody. This we know to be true, but it's what Yen Sid says after this explanation that has always struck me as rather odd.
Nobodies do not truly exist at all. Nobodies may seem to have feelings, but this is a ruse. They only pretend to have hearts. You must not be deceived.
Nobodies. They don't exist.
A ruse? Don't be deceived? He sounds pretty sure of his words, and he leaves no real room to question him. Of course, later on it seems, we all learn that with enough time, exposure, and friendship, nobodies can sort of develop feelings of their own. 358 by 2 Days reinforces this with characters like Roxas and Xion, and Naminé is definitely a separate person unto herself. So does it not seem a tad suspicious that he never put forth this possibility at all? I'm sure some will be quick to say that he probably didn't know this information. And I'll totally admit that's possible. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But as a retired Keyblade master who knows a ton of information about the ancient Keyblade War, the ancient masters, one would think he could have at least considered this himself, or mentioned it to Sora and company. All these things just seem to accumulate one after the other. All these times in which Yen Sid could have steered the party in a different direction. Something just doesn't add up about his character. Is it negligence? Is he simply a useless character? Or is there more to his story? Something we haven't even considered yet. Because at this point, I'm starting to lose faith in Master Yen Sid as a mentor, and even his dramatic rescue in Kingdom Hearts 3 seems overshadowed by all the other times he could have helped out himself, but actively chose not to. I'm really curious though, what is your opinion on Master Yen Sid as a character? Am I being far too hard on him? Or is there still more of his story left to tell? Just leave a comment down below. Maybe hit like, share, or subscribe to help support the channel. Otherwise, have yourself a great day. May your heart be your guiding key, my friends. And as always, happy gaming.